Consider it a pure joy, my brothers and sisters, because when you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance, and let perseverance finish its work, so that you may mature and complete, lacking in nothing. The process starts with a journey, and the journey is one of discovery that we have taken along with 7 emerging leaders over the last 6 months. January 18, 2007 was the first day that we invited 7 emerging leaders into the space. And it started with me asking them, bring as much as you know about yourself to as much as you know about God. Be an enthusiastic learner. Support your peers. And be prepared to take a journey of discovery within yourselves. The 21st century took a turn for the best when it came down to youth. As you may be aware of, the Industrial Revolution actually had some trying times for youth where they were treated as property to adults. And then as civil rights people began to move forward in laws and they began to examine what was happening during children during the Industrial Revolution, they began to notice the hardships of youth, that they had no voice and that they had no rights. And they began to make laws that actually pushed them into humanity, where they had a voice. They can go to school and they can begin to discover who they are. And as adolescents, that's exactly what we do. It's a process of discovery and it's a process of learning who we are. But here we are in 2017, and we still have youth still struggling with that question of who am I? And particularly in the urban environment where your achievement is marred by the urban communities and education is stripped, or there's an injustice in that part of your life where you are not focused on achievement, but yet you're focused on survival. Who am I? These youth are asking. And so as we invited youth into this space, we wanted to create a context and a culture where they can begin to ask these questions and they have a space where they can discover exactly who they are, but more importantly, who they were as image bearers of Christ. There's an old African proverb that says, it takes a village to raise a child. And I think we as adults got that twisted. We applied that to ourselves as we were the one taking on the actual experience of developing youth in our context, but that's not so true. While the adults in an African village were operating and bringing food and resources into the community, it was the adolescents that took on the ownership of their younger peers, mentoring, nurturing, and providing an atmosphere of discovery where they can ask questions of who I am. So Harambe is a Swahili term that says, all pulling together. Image of God. The Creator's creativity flows through me as I was created in His image. Isaiah Sanchez. Isaiah is one of the boldest emerging leaders that we have in our group. Always the first to initiate, but he's always the first to take responsibility. He set out to create a Harambe moment where he was talking about art and motivation, but he realized something about his creativity once he began to dive into biblical passages of the Imago Dei, which is an image bearer of Christ. And then he began to notice that, hey, I'm a creative person, but I'm creative because I'm created by the Creator. And as he began to exemplify that with his students, he began to teach those moments. Lee, she is the most boldest and most confident and most assertive leader that we have in our group. She is the oldest amongst her peers and always fierce at getting the job done. Task-oriented, very much a hoorah person. She takes advantage of every moment that she has to assert her gifts and talents. And then she talked about her time of disobedience, reflecting on her time as she was studying Jonah and saying, hey, look, there was one time that I was disobedient, but I could never escape God in the process. that actually helps me to understand what I need to do to move forward as an emerging leader and as an image bearer of Christ. Kiara, she is one of the most reserved emerging leaders that we have. Up until the point where she actually had to leave in her Harambe moment, she said, I'm nervous, I'm scared. I don't know exactly what I should be doing. During some times that we had with her in developing her lesson plan, she came forward, she said, you know what, I want to focus on self-image. I think it's important for my peers to understand how important it is to have a great reflection of yourself as you begin to reflect on who God is in your life. And so it doesn't matter what anybody thinks of you. It matters what God thinks of you, what God thinks of you. We have a saying within emerging leaders, to plan your work and work your plan. And so as we set out to have 4 Saturday morning trainings where the emerging leaders were diving in all of the components of summer camp and what it would look like and the type of fun and atmosphere that we will create for 60 kids through a 5-week summer camp, we've seen emerging leaders illuminate. Ideas begin to come across and they begin to express the excitement that they had to be able to serve kids over the summer, tapping into the gifts and strengths that God has given each of them. And this is the fruit of their labor. Peer pressure. AD, he told me once that, hey, I struggle with this issue. Amongst my peers, sometimes I don't know who I am. And so I actually really want to lead a topic that focuses on the pressure that I actually experienced that would actually help my younger peers be able to deal with it. And so I asked AD, I said, well, how do you get through it? And he says, you know what? I need to learn how to persevere and how to create an identity of my own that is separate of those that are just not good in my life. And as he began to communicate that to his younger peers, he began to see himself in the ones that he was serving. Why are you so salty? Some great words and great creative thoughts coming from Kenise Ellis. She is actually very creative, though sometimes she doesn't think she is. She came up with this dynamic plan of taking something that was actually derogatory in the urban language and turning it into something biblical. So why are you so salty in the urban language means, why are you so mad? Why are you so reserved? What is your problem? Instead, she's saying, let your light so shine. Be the salt and light of the earth. So if somebody asks you why you're so salty, it's because I'm the season in the lives of people. Champ, led us in a topic of forgiveness. Champ has a unique way. Sometimes you really don't know what he's thinking, but you know that he's processing it well so he can do it with a thought felt and heart in it. And so as he's leading his peers in topics of forgiveness, he creates an aura around his emerging leaders that says, hey, listen, I need you guys involved in this process to help to teach how the forgiving prince of Joseph came to lead a nation, forgive his family, and bring people out of bondage. And so the emerging leaders gathered around Champ and they went through a skit and we watched the Harambe kids enter into an experience talking about the forgiving prince. Effective leadership. Ted says, never remove the responsibility from the child to choose or to make a choice. It would rob them of their growth. A lesson of teaching inside summer camp. As we are moving forward, we understand there's going to be some disciplinary issues. And so how the emerging leaders are going to deal with that is going to be key as it affects each and every one of their learning centers. And so if there's a disruptive student, we don't want to absolve them of a choice to be a part of what we're doing. We want to make sure that every student that we are serving during summer camp wants to be there. And if they don't, it's okay. And so understanding how to be effective in your classroom is key for the growth of the students as well as the emerging leaders. Alicia. She came to me and she said, you know what? I'm not confident in who I am. I was often bullied for how I talk. But I'm going to lead a topic of confidence because I know I have it within me. And so as she began to lead the topic of confidence, she was able to captivate her audience by telling her story of being bullied in high school because of how she talked, how she spoke. But during that time, she tapped into something that was there all along, which was how confident she was in who she was and how God created her. Therefore, she says, allow God to be the confidence you need to blossom. If you want to compete for the minds of youth, you must do so in the realm of ideas. And so the context and culture of emerging leaders has been one where they can shout out one idea, and then that idea is being created into a reality. And that's how we are at summer camp here today, is because we have made their ideas a reality. And that's how we switch it.